hope I'm not worsening this conversation by taking a little bit more aggressive standpoint where your customer feedback, let's say it's hard to tie it back to the bottom line, just because it's more about my experience as a customer. So, you know, I don't necessarily want to take an extra trip on the road. I don't want to go out of my way to, you know, take action, but I need to do this thing. I want to get this thing and I want to get this service from you, you know, but it won't necessarily impact the bottom line.
Or even if it does not immediately.
But if it doesn't immediately, guys, the next question to you is, how pervasive is this?
It's an issue. Okay,
you understand?
I get you.
And if that is so, what's the future or the forward implications if we were to go ahead and move on this? Because and then that is where it's going to also dictate the priority in terms of whether or not your sponsors are going to jump at the opportunity to say, let's move this one on the table. It's a game of chess.
Right.
Let's move this one on the table and put this one forward because this is definitely going to give us the winning that we need.
I get you.
And at the end of the day, it's about winning. I'm sorry.
I'm even tell you, Belinda.
Yes. At the end of the day, it's all about winning.
And I think even everything that you've explained, it just feels like it's a conversation, it's a story.
Yes.
So it's on us to tell the customer.
Or you're painting a picture, you know?
Yes, and you know a story is going to leave an indelible mark in the minds or make an impression. And don't be disappointed to bring forward your solution and even get the feedback that they're not ready for it yet, because you need to understand their matter of timing and priority. And this is where the element of the truth continuum comes into play. And the truth continuum is a basic principle that is utilized in communication. Tell me, show me, involve me. So you have to not only utilize that in terms of how it is that you're going to be putting forward your ideas, but it's going to also use that when you're also having that conversation with your sponsors.
Sounds excellent.
So guess what stood out to me? Also understanding where the stakeholders are coming from. Because I think too often we are focused on, yes, we know that this is a customer pain point, we're solving it. Why don't you understand this? Without thinking that as your stakeholder, as your sponsor, I'm trying to figure out how it is to impact.
That's your job,
right? So that's a perfect point. Understanding as well. And at the end of the day, you know, we're all humans. We all have something that motivates us. We all have something that's driving us. We all have something that we're trying to achieve. And from the stakeholder's point of view, I think we perhaps need to
and
give
and again, it's the stakeholder engagement and the stakeholder delight, being delighted is always going to be a good end game. And but just remember, as I said to you, don't take it personal. Understand what the sponsor's priority is and how it is that you can delight them when you're having conversations with them. And in my working experience, what I've also learned is that everything is contingent on time.
That's true.
And sometimes not everything is going to be said to you in the onset as to why it is we can't move on this one right now, because something may be a sticking point for them. You have to understand that. But you must leave from that conversation with an idea as to just what it is that they like or don't like about what it is that you're putting forward, because they need to also be delivering on some goal, right? And sometimes, as I said, although it is written down on paper, there are still some tacit ones that are at the back that they have to also bear in mind when they're making their decisions. So we have to also give them that little bit of a laxity and leeway to understand that, you know, there must be something that's holding them back.
Fair enough.
For me, it's not a good guy or a bad guy thing. It's just that some people are just different.
That's so true, Belinda. That's so true.
Yes.
But what would be your advice when, you know, we're finding it hard to get a seat at the table, to have that conversation, to even, you know, be able to paint the picture, tell the story, motivate them to move that chess piece that we want to unlock that value for them? How do we, you know, advocate for ourselves to get that seat at the table?
This is a conversation to be had with whoever it is that you report to. and to understand what is their force or what force they bring in terms of being a part of that executive setting and that executive dialogue. And if you don't have somebody there, which I'm sure that you do, then it simply means that you need to have someone placed there, and the sooner the better. And the only way you can have someone placed there is if you collectively look at what implications or results you would have had and look for the ones that have been devastating or the ones that would have been tremendous in terms of a first move advantage that you would have lost, right? Or an advantage that you would have lost because it comes back down to dollar or even if it's not a dollar figure, it comes back down to a customer sentiment that is debilitating. And once it is that you can put those down in a pointed fashion and to showcase or demonstrate them, it simply means that you can have that conversation to say this is the result of us not doing X, Y, Z, but you must put an X in to say if we don't do X, this is going to be the Y, right? So and I would say to you, don't stop. Marketing
keep knocking,
was
right?
Keep knocking. No, and I've been around long enough to know that marketing was never. It's like marketing is everybody's business, and everybody is a marketer, which is something that I quite hate.
Yes.
I don't. If you can tell me what to do, then you should do it yourself. Or do you want fries with that? But just let me know what it is that you find as a challenge, and let me, as the expert, come up with the solution. Because if it doesn't work, at the end of the day, you're going to be holding me accountable. And if you're holding me accountable, I should be the one to be saying to you, this is the solution that I'm recommending or putting forward, and this is the reason. This is the reason why it should work. If you don't have one, you should always work with a template, and a template that has been successful for you. And that template should only be enhanced every single time as we go, as we move ahead in life, because there are going to be some things that are no longer relevant, and there are going to be some things that have emerged that you need to now plug into the rubrics. And once you plug that in, it simply means that you're only enhancing what the end result and the success factor is going to be. But just have that. Somebody needs to be there to represent you, and we know what the value is of collaboration, and in having that collaborative discipline as a part of a DNA, you get to understand all the sentiments of all the stakeholders internally before you even move on anything. So that way, when you're ready to move, you would know exactly what is in the back of legal's mind, what's in the back of credit's mind, what's in the forefront of retail and client services, what is in the minds of our team members, because our team members are very critical set, very, very critical. You need to plug them in as well, because they're going to be the ones, and if you have that massive voice speaking the same conversation as you are, it only helps to make it even more powerful.
We're with you on that. Belinda, awesome points, very clearly articulated, and all of them kind of, fit well with each other, and it makes the conversation that we're having so much easier to have. And I'm sure our audience will also appreciate the insights that you shared so far. But, you mentioned that, sometimes as marketers, from the top down, you're being told what to do. You're not being able to lead that conversation, not being able to lead the plans that you would want to put in place, because, from top down, they have an idea as to what will work, and you should just go ahead and execute. But that also applies if you're not even in marketing. It applies if you're a scrum master or product owner in the lab. It applies if you're a team lead who is managing a sales team and you're being told what to do, and you're not being given the opportunity to lead, the actions that you want to take, or anything you'd want to experiment with, the ideas that you have to bring them to life and to reality. But what happens, Belinda, when you're not able to find someone to sit at the table and advocate for you and your customers, but you're still not even able to get a foot in the door, but you're still so passionate about wanting to effect this change for your customers. What would be your suggestion when you're not able to have either the seat at the table or your voice in the room, being advocated by someone who is there?
Well, let's not get it twisted. There's always going to be that instance where you just have to fulfill an edict that is handed down to you.
That's true.
And that's just the reality of anything that we face. And it happens across businesses, across disciplines.
That's right.
There are going to be some things that you're just told, this is what needs to be done, and you have to find a way to just do it.
Understand why, but
but at the end of the day, it's your duty to understand the why. And when you understand the why, you know the how, and then you just work it out to see exactly how it is that the what is going to be, and all of the other full gamut of the implications for it. So with that kind of knowledge and knowing that these are the things that I'm going to have to do, and then these are the things that I'm going to be putting forward as solutions based on the different findings that you would have, or insights that you would have had, whether they're going to be through empirical data that is research based, and or something that comes down based on what you have observed to be happening based on the environment or the marketing analysis, whatever it is that you're using as your source of reason, right? Then that is how you're going to be moving the solutions that you're recommending. So with that kind of knowledge to say, I still don't have a voice at the table, I would say to you that, but you do. What you need to do is to understand and to find that one person who connects.
Okay, I get you.
Who connects, whether it be with you directly or with the project directly. And you need to speak to that person so that they can get to advocate on your behalf.
Okay.
So you are now moving the conversation from going straight to the top to having a mediator, finding that mediator, filling your passion or pouring your passion into that mediator, and using the same kind of elements that I outlined earlier in terms of knowing exactly what are going to be the sticking points or what are going to be the success factors that they need to be selling. And that mediator now becomes your voice.
Just like that. Just like that. Just like that.
Yeah, I think too often what we think is it's going to be ideal. We're gonna, the door is gonna be open. We're just gonna walk in, and
if I'm not the one telling the story,
and you don't have to tell your story. You don't have to be the one telling. A matter of fact, your story becomes even more forceful, and you have to learn to let go.
Yes.
That's where it comes. You have to learn to let go. Especially if it's a team thing.
Yeah, that's true.
Take one for the team, man.
That's true. That's true.
Take one for the team and don't let down the team. So you just push it forward. And then you'll be surprised. Things have a way of coming to light or coming to fruition in terms of when you're ready. And you have to also understand, especially if you're coming from a place of passion, which you spoke about, you don't have no problem in a business that want take the big up or the thing here, because guess what? I can really point to that and be very, very excited about the fact that I really was a brainchild or a part of a brainchild behind that. Make somebody else sell it for you. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
What more can we say? What more can we say? You know, if you have any questions that you want us to follow up and ask Belinda in another session, feel free to drop a comment in the comment box below and let us know, and we'll definitely line it up and make it happen.
Yeah, it has been a delight, guys. Thanks for having me.
So much information,
I know.
So much information. Yes, we'll definitely take it on. If we haven't started using some of these tips already, we'll definitely figure out how to incorporate in how
you're now the masters, you know. Scrum masters, but you're the master.
Yes. Thank you so much for your time, Bill.
Yes.
Awesome. It was my pleasure.
Thank you so much.
Absolute delight. Yes.
So that's it for us today. If you haven't yet started following us on our other social media channels, we invite you to look for @Agile Caribbean Link on LinkedIn, IG, Facebook, and Twitter. Talk soon.
Alright, so hi, I'm Chantal.
And I'm Nikki, and we're the faces behind Agile Caribbean Link.
If it's up,
yeah, we don't have no mic.
Oh God, you guys need equipment.
Yeah,
and
we
the
do.
water run that backyard, I hear it, you know?
You think so? Go on, try.